So hello everyone and welcome once again to my channel. I realized my son just told me that I wasn't recording, so I've been blabbing for like 10 minutes and nothing was being recorded. So today's video is going to be talking about keto diet, my weight loss journey, what led to it, what have I learned on this journey, what I learned also about keto diet, and you know, what I have applied and what I am applying. Now, well, I'm going to say this is not to bash, or this video is not going to, I'm not doing anything, I'm not comparing anything with what I'm doing to the keto diet, because in fact, I would say thanks to the keto diet that I can do what I am doing now. Right, so my story is what I'm going to be sharing with you, what I have learned so far on my journey with the keto diet. And I'm going to give a shout out to Fumi Okurimbido. She's the one, she was actually the one who introduced me into the keto diet. She runs Drop Stones with Lola, and she's a keto diet coach. And I would tell you that she is hands-on in her approach. So yes, so let's go back to the very beginning right now. So I hope that in this video I'll be able to find one of my old photos where I was super slim, and I used to weigh 60 kgs. Now after my baby, everything seemed to be okay. You know, guys, everything seemed to be perfect. I was still able to fit into my old clothes. I had no inkling, you know, if anything was going on or wrong or right. I had no idea. Now fast forward, a friend of mine who came to see me from another country, and the first thing she was like, "What happened to you?" I thought she was just being funny. I thought she was joking, and you know, I was like, nothing, you know. And then in this period as well, I also had, you know, very serious cases of, you know, stretch mark, you know, scratches and itching. Now, when I was pregnant, I had no stretch marks at all because I was using very good products during that period. And luckily for a friend of mine, a Congolese, who also told me that the best way to, you know, combat stretch marks with pregnancy is starting early, you know, because she already had 4 kids at the time I got to know her. So she was like, start early. So I think I started using stretch mark creams at 3 months, because she told me just begin on time, that once you start on time, everything is fine. And so I had no stretch marks, not on my belly, not even after I had my baby. There was nothing, you know. So I was so happy. So, but then I also noticed that in my body, after this period, you know, I was really scratching a lot, and I was like, what's going on? And then one day I just decided to look at my thighs, because it was really my thighs and my arms. And when I look at my arms, like, what? You know, and then I realized that there were stretch marks. So I went to use my Clarence stretch mark control cream, one of the best products out there you can actually use for stretch marks. So I went to get it and I said, applied it. Now, while this was going on, I would honestly tell you guys, as I'm talking to you right now, you know, that the period of after my pregnancy till the period where I actually realized, or you know, knew that something was supposed to be wrong, because I still didn't understand. I have no idea what was going on then. It's like a black hole. You know, I'm telling you guys this categorically, it happened to me. It's like a black hole. I recall things in very small bits, nothing more. And then in all this time, you know, we had been trying, after the first baby, we had been trying to get pregnant, and nothing was happening. And I went to see my doctor, and I was like, what's going on? And, you know, he kept on saying, hold on, maybe, you know, but nothing was going on. So at the time he said, okay, now listen, we've waited this long, nothing is happening. I think it's time for us to go the IVF route. if you had your first baby, because most times that's what they say, if you had your baby, you know, naturally, normally the doctor would say, well, wait it out, you know. So, but this time it wasn't happening. So, and I also recall my, you know, and I also knew I didn't feel good, you know. But did I know I wasn't feeling good? No. Did I know I was not happy? No. And I recall my brother, who called me from the States at the time, said, you know, he only asked me one question. He said, are you happy? And I said, yeah, why shouldn't I be? You know? So, and when the doctor said, okay, we had to go for IVF, you know, and I was sent to the specialist, the gynecologist, and then she began to ask, of course, like all doctors, she began to ask questions. And then she got to this period of my life where right now, as I tell you guys, I have no clue what was going on then. And she was like, okay, so tell me what happened to you, what this, you know. And I was like, and you know, because she was like, okay, you know, you weighed this much. How, you know, when we came to my weight, you know, you weighed this much, you know. And I couldn't tell her anything. And she was like, you know. And she was like, have you ever heard of postpartum depression? I was like, I was like, what's that? You know, and you know, this is the kind of information that, you know, nobody tells you, especially we who come from Africa. My mom never told me that, you know, when a woman gets, you know, when you have a baby, that, you know, we have things like postpartum depression. Nobody explained it to me. Well, thanks to the internet and globalization and stuff, but I had no clue of anything of that nature. I mean, it was supposed to be, oh, you go in there, you know, get the baby out and, you know, start, you know. And she was like, okay. And she started asking me questions about the baby, about my son, you know, who at this time is no longer a baby. So I was like, no, I just knew that I had to take care of my child. That's all. But every other thing was, you know, it's just a black hole. And she was like, your husband? I was like, you know, nothing, you know. There was nothing, you know. There was no, I couldn't relate anything to anything. All I just knew that I had this very strong maternal instinct to protect my baby. And I recall, you know, one day I was giving him a bath and my husband tried to help. And I went around him. I was like, get out, you know, that kind of a thing. Don't touch my baby, you know, that kind of a thing. And he just, you know, he just moved back. So, you know, these are the things that I began to realize because I was actually talking to my doctor about it. So then, you know, they told me then that for the IVF, because we tried the first 2 times, it didn't work. And she was like, okay, maybe that we had, for IVF to work, you know, properly, that I had to start thinking about weight loss. And, you know, I was also told that, you know, going from 60 to 90 in such a very short period of time. Listen, you guys, I'm talking about in 6 months. I went from 60 to like there for a first pregnancy. And she was like, that's a whole lot of weight for you. So, and I began to cry at that moment because it was like a realization that, oh, something was wrong. So I was referred to an endocrinologist for that. Now, I wasn't so enthusiastic about it because I was like, you know, I was, you know, this situation of, oh God, I just wanted to, I just wanted to get pregnant without all that stress. Now, getting to meet the endocrinologist, and we started talking about my diet and everything, and we now got to start talking about, you know, my food, my intake, and, you know, stuff like that. Now, I wasn't also crazy about it because at the same time, my MBA, it was time for me to do my MBA. So there was no way I was going to be able to do MBA and at the same time do but it's still recording, isn't it? And do you know, go for the program, because the hospital is it is way off, as in way on the other side of town. way on the other side of town. With MBA, I mean, with school, I don't know how it was going to work. So I called and I had to cancel because they've been calling and calling. I called and I had to cancel and told them I wasn't going to be able to do it because of, the constraint of school. And they said, okay, I should call back, and I never did, which I have to still do, but I never did. Now, MBA is over. I lost some weight during the MBA, but I gained back that weight during project, and I gained it times two. And I now realize that I was actually going, bigger and bigger. My clothes weren't fitting anymore. And I still did a couple of IVFs. And it was as though, because I got the impression that at each time we did IVF, after that bout, I added weight. And then I went back again. So it was like I was getting heavier and heavier after each IVF treatment, and nothing was working. Nothing, none of them was working. In the beginning, it did work, but it didn't, the embryo didn't implant. And this time around, nothing was going on anymore. It was just like blank. And I began to worry. And actually, that was when I began to get worried. I was like, no. So, but I didn't like it. I didn't like the injections. I didn't like it. It was taking a toll on me. I had to say the truth. So I went to see the gynecologist. Went back to see the gynecologist, and I told the gynecologist I would love to stop for now. I wasn't in that space, and he was like, okay, fine. He agreed. Now, this happened last year, 2017. Now we are now in 2018, and I saw myself falling into depression. I knew I was getting into depression. I began to see the signs. I was eating incessantly. I was getting irritable, frustrated. Everything my husband did was annoying, and I just knew that I wasn't right. I wasn't feeling good in the head. I had headaches. I just wanted to stay locked up indoors. I didn't want to go out. I knew that was what